Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Zhi Lu. Here I would like to ask you a question. How can you overcome the tension in various challenges with a calm mood? I don't think it is an easy question to answer because everyone's stress level is different. However, in some challenges, we can overcome the tension through our own efforts. In the following speech, I will introduce how to overcome the tension before cancers and solo cancers from the perspective of piano performance. Okay. In fact, the tension before performance is common to all performers. Many manifested in sweaty hands, chest tightness, shortness of breath, and even shaking all over the body. If this tension cannot be relieved, then the performer may have various situations during the performance, which may make the performance moods more out of control. So, where does the tension come from before the performance? Let's analyze several factors that may cause tension. First of all, tension comes from the player's performance level. I believe everyone has heard such a sentence called boldness of execution stems from superb skill. This sentence also shows that a skilled person can successfully complete any performance. However, performers with low performance level cannot match this sentence because they can't have a correct understanding of themselves. For example, they don't know what their weaknesses and strengths are in playing. This often makes the players from a psychological hint that they always feel that their playing level is weak. This hint will greatly weaken the self-confidence of the performers. At the same time, the players who lack self-confidence will often blindly imitate a certain master. In fact, imitation is sometimes beneficial to a natural performer, but for performers with low performance level, blind imitation may make them forget how to use target practice to improve their performance level. Because they would spend a lot of their own practice time imitating the work of a master. Over time, these kind of players not only cannot improve their performance level, on the contrary, and their performance level may continue to decline. Secondly, the tension comes from the stage practice. Most of the performers will do daily piano practice. Most of the performance will practice in their own home or practice room, which is adopted and which is a comfortable choice. But even if you practice well skillfully in these venues, once the venue is changed to a concert hall, the overall the overall feeling of playing will be greatly reduced. The most obvious reason is that the number of the audience has increased and the Materials of the concert hall generally use some sound insulation building materials, which is why we can hear the music of the sense of emptiness in the concert hall. But we can't hear the music of the sense in our own home or practice room. In this way, due to the expansion of the performance value and the increase of the audience, the changes will inevitably make the performers narrow in the performance precise. So, so how to overcome the tension before the performance? At this point, the players need a detailed plan of practice. When we get a new song, we often try it on the piano a few times. At the same time, we also listen to the CD, and then we begin to practice carelessly. I think many young players may have done this, and I used to do the same thing. In fact, this way of practicing music is not good, and it may become a cause of tension in the final stage performance. Therefore, we should practice in a planned and purposeful way. How to make a plan? Okay, first, reciting music scores. Many people may have doubts about reciting music scores at the beginning, and most people may think recital music scores should begin after they are proficient in playing music. In fact, some studies have shown that emergence of inertial memory has a certain relationship with memorizing music after mastering a piece of music. The so-called inertial memory is that when we recite a piece of music, although we feel that we have learned it by heart, we still forget the skill when we play it. Moreover, the precision of forgetting the skill is different every time. If we need to recall the precision of forgetting the skill at this time, we only remember the general position of the hand on the piano, but we don't remember what the notes are. However, it is not the most worrying thing. The most worrying thing is that the performers can hardly remember the notes when they play. What they remember is the conditioned reflex of the fingers. In this way, players who rely on intuition memory cannot confidently tell themselves that they will not make mistakes in the performance. For the tense caused by intuition memories, we need to use slow practice to over it. In short, when we start to play a new piece of music, recitation should also start at the same time. The specific method is to adjust the metronome to 16 and then expand the length of each beat in the score by one or two times. For example, a floating Bach fugue. Where the time of the notes is attended becomes such a performance in the picture. The purpose of doing this is to avoid the phenomenon of figure memory. The task of memory is only left to eyes, mouth, earth, and brain. And try not to stare at hand in slow exercise, which can better prevent the phenomenon of figure memory. In fact, when reciting the score, we will pay attention to the notes and the score. However, when reciting the score, the time between each note is too short. In such a short time, we will be interfered by many things, such as environmental sound, impetuous mood, and mixed sound, and some other things that have nothing to do with music. When these interference sources fall our brains, it means that the brain has no space to accommodate the notes on the score. So when we recite the score with slow practice, we will get such an effort that is when the notes can only be played after a long time interval. In such a long time interval, I believe that in addition to hearing over heart beats and the piano sound, there is another thing that will also appear in our minds, which is a note on the music score, because we make room from this. Sorry, because we make room for these notes to stay in my brain. Okay. Second, the training of handling figures, which is a training technique that we will use when we first learn piano. Now, the training method can also become another weapon for us. Here, we take the first one of Hanus as an example. Similarly, the player needs to adjust the metronome to 16, and then each beat of the metronome only uses the methods of handling figures to play a note. We can imagine how slow this beat is, and it feels like time is due. Then the first time to play the first and play it twice. The next day to play the first and the second and play it twice. So add one every day until play to the 15th. After that, the player needs to play the first to the 15th of handling with the handling figures training method and the 13 and the 16 and 60 speed method twice every day. You will see that this is too boring, too unbearable, but that's what we need. Because the only purpose of doing this is to train over spirit and perseverance. Why some players can't control the music work that need to be played for a long time, but even many players start to shaking and back when they hear the notice that they need to play for a long time. The reason is that they lack the spirit and the perseverance, which is similar to running. Most long-distance runner may not to be able to meet the requirements of the competition when they first train to run. But after some systematic training, the physical strength of the sportsman will run the whole match. Therefore, when the honey figure training continues for a long time, you will find that your performance level is constantly improving. At the same time, your mental endurance is enough to help you perform for any lots of time. Okay, the, the above speech is my summary of some suggestions and methods to slow the tension before the concert or solo concert. At the end, at the end of the speech, I'd like to hear your valuable questions. Thank you.